Hello guys. Before I start the video, I just want to say that this is a school project, and I started recording it and I didn't hit record soon enough, so it's going to start off with me not actually explaining what I was doing. This is a tutorial showing how to use many different features of Muse. So let's get started, I guess. Let's start off with clicking on File, New Site. So that pops up. So these are your defaults. I normally just use the defaults, but I also do like to change this columns to 3 to create your 3 column margins, and then I normally change the gutter to 10. Let's click OK. Now you're presented with this. Here is where most of your site mapping is. This is the map of your site. This is the basically the skeleton, the bones of your site that no one will ever see, but it makes it very easy for managing it. Down here you have what are called your masters. These masters are like templates and background stuff that gets copied to all of your other pages. So let's start off with double clicking on our A master. And let's create a header. So the most common theme right now is having a header up here, having a footer down here that stay on top of the page at all time, and having your contact info at the bottom, having the name of your business, company, or whatever, the name of your site up here, and having a menu up here. And then using what are called parallax images, which I'll talk about later in the video, and having everything scroll down with a static background. So first what we're going to do is we're going to create a menu bar. Just create a rectangle, and what you're going to do is you're going to drag it up and you're going to click it into the corner right here. As you can see, it clicked in and it stopped right at the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the bottom of this to line up with our margin, drag this to line up with the side of our website, and now we're good to go. This is an empty rectangle, yet it is full of features and full of stuff that is super easy to use. What we're going to do is we're going to add a color. So let's go super simple with gray. Now we have our gray header. The top of your page of where your menus, sometimes your logo, and normally the name of your site is called your header. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to right click, copy, right click, paste. We're going to drag that to the bottom, and look, now we have a footer. But the issue is that with footers is, see, as I drag this down, the page gets longer. I don't want that to happen. I want this to be locked in as the footer. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click footer. That is now locked in, and it's going to stay there. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to click on my header and I'm going to pin it to the middle and top of my page. Next thing I'm going to do is right click, Resize, and you're going to make sure that stretch to browser width is on. What this will do is it'll automatically resize the size of your header and your footer to be the size of the website, or to be the size of the person's browser. This is mostly an aesthetic thing, but you really do want this because you got those people out there with the 21:9 massive ultra-wide monitors that are just wreck websites, and you get those select few people complaining, oh, your website doesn't look good on my monitor, you guys should do this. No, that's not what you want. What you want to do is you want to be able to beat them to the punch and make it so that your website looks good on everything. So now this rectangle is pinned up to the top, this rectangle is pinned as the footer, and now we're good to go. But now let's go check on our sitemap. Let's look at what happened. See that got updated there. Our home page is now locked in with this header and this footer, so that we know our margins of where we can place things. But see, if I try and click on it, it doesn't work because it's locked in, and you can't modify it from your home page. You can only modify it from your master. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start some organization. Let's go into our layers. Let's rename this to our header. Now that we've got that in our header, well, we see, well, why do we have our footer and our header in the header layer? Let's create another layer, and we're going to call this one footer, drag this one underneath, and we're going to take our rectangle, and you can tell which one's which by selecting these, which will tell you what is what. And we're going to drag this onto our footer layer. Now we have it on our footer. We're good to go. Now, if we click on layers, you can see, wow, look, we actually have something here. I'm going to create another layer, and I'm going to call it content. That is going to be where we're going to put all of our where we're going to put our logos, where we're going to put our text boxes, where we're going to put our light boxes, where we're going to put a lot of our stuff. Let's go into our sitemap and let's create some more pages. So normal pages most people have, they have their home page, they have their about page, and they have their contact page. But let's say you want something else. Maybe you want, I don't know, let's say news. You can just add a new one. Also, another cool feature is if you want to have a menu as a if you want to have a page as a sub page, you could also create. Let's create one on a recent site that I just made. I had to create different lessons at different levels of difficulty. So let's go lessons, and let's go underneath that and click the little arrow underneath, and these little arrows pop up when you select it. And you can add pages underneath. Now this one's added underneath. Let's go beginner. Click enter. Let's add another one, but to the side of that under page. Let's go intermediate. Spelt that right this time. And let's go expert. Now you have your pages down here. So this is the skeleton of your website. This is what it looks like. This is perfect. But let's drag this over here. Let's drag our lessons to be in the middle here, our abouts over there, and this is kind of how most websites are laid out. Is you're laid out with your content, your about, and then your contact. Your contact always goes at the end for the current theme nowadays. Now, let's go back into our master and let's finally add a menu, because if you currently preview the website, you're stuck. You can't go anywhere, it's boring, there's nothing to do. Let's go down here and let's click on menus, and we're going to click on I'm going to make a horizontal menu. That menu is very basic, but as you can see, oh look, it disappears because it's not on the right layer. Let's go right click, move to layer, and move it to our header. Now it appears above our header. Most sites nowadays, they have their content right about here. The middle of your second button would normally be about on your third margin. So about there is good, and it's normally right in the middle of your header. As you can see, this is a very blank menu, and Adobe does that for a reason. It's to make people change it so that everybody's site does not look the same. But surprisingly, it's weird. This theme actually, the color of this menu actually kind of fits in, but I'm still going to modify it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, what looks like Times New Roman font, and we're going to change it to Helvetica. Now look, our text just changed. It changed, which is amazing. Let's bold it. Wow, look, it's bold. You can change the size of it, make it a bit larger, give it more of an impact. You can even change the color, change it to a black font. Let's do that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit escape again, and I'm going to hit V. V brings you to your selection tool here, a very cool shortcut to know. Let's select just one of these. Don't double click it, just click it once. And let's click on this. Let's click over on our thing here. This menu item and this thing here that says normal in orange on my screen, this is showing you what it'll look like. Here, let me load up the website and show you. This is what it looks like. When you hover your mouse over, it darkens, which is very, very efficient. And it's actually a very cool thing that Muse does for you. You don't have to create classes, you don't have to create states, you don't have to do any of that stuff that you would normally see people having to code. It's all done for you, and it's super simple. Let's click on it. Click on it again. And as you can see, it changes and it stays that darker color when it's active. As you can see, according to what page I'm on, it darkens and it keeps it a slightly darker color. As you can see, actually, when I clicked on the contact page, it even showed the mouse down one where it gets even darker. Exit out of our preview, and let's add some rounded corners onto our site. There. This is a very common theme that I like to use on mine, is rounding the corners and doing all this stuff. Or I'll do it like that. You can have it where it's like a speech bubble. I normally like just rounding two of the corners, and it adds a subtle effect. But I'm going to try something different. Let's get rid of all this. Let's get rid of the fill and have no fill. No fill at all. No fill. Or let's do rollover, and let's make it slightly faded out for rollover. Now let's leave it at full, and let's get rid of the fill. No fill there. No fill, nothing. Let's have it just colorless. And show you the impact this can actually make. Is what you can do is you can grab another rectangle, change the color to be gray, and oh whoops. Let's just undo that. Grab a rectangle, change it to be really thin, and let's change the fill to something like this. Now here's a tip when changing your colors. This is done in RGB, and you have your values from 0 to 255. 255 is full color. So if you changed all of these to 255, you see when I select white, they're all 255, and that means that everything that you get the color white. Black, they're all at 0, and gray, they're about in between. So let's make this a little bit of a lighter color. Let's change it to 200. Or now let's just leave it at 255. We have our white bar, and let's drag it up over here. Oh, whoops. Drag this bar up over here, paste it up here, and have it right in the middle. There. Look at that. That actually looks nice. Click on preview. Look. It looks like a regular website. It looks like what a real website might look like. And we've barely done anything. Let's go back to our page here, and let's add some states. Let's go into when you roll over it. When you roll over it becomes a little bit oh, whoops. Put that back there. Actually, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's make it so that it gets a little bit lighter when you roll your mouse over it. So let's change that to 60. Very subtle, but it's noticeable. Let's have it when you have that page selected, when it's active, that you change the color of the font to, let's say, to white. So when, oh whoops, control undo. Let's go here, select, and on the active one, let's change our font to white. There. So now when that page is activated, it'll be white. Click preview. Now when I hover over, see how very subtle that is? It's very subtle, but it's nice. Now when my home page is active, it's white. Go to lessons, it's white. About, white. Contact, white. Let's go back to our home. Let's click exit. And let's go back. Now we've created a very basic website that has navigation, has a home page, and has everything that you might need. But you're probably wondering, well, you have these 3 subpages. Where are they? Why can't you get to them? Because in your menu, I have only the top level pages. And actually, if you see, and I click on all pages, that pops up, which is actually a drop-down menu that shows you all of your pages. But I'm going to do top level pages, and I'll show you something in a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's work on creating some more menu integration. Just wipe off my keyboard there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some functionality into actually accessing those other pages. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our widgets library and we're going to use what's called a composition. We're going to drag out a blank composition, bring everything back up here. But before we move on, let's just make sure that this is pinned to the top and this is pinned over to the top right hand side of our page, which is again this. Let's go back to our composition, and the composition is made up of a couple parts. It's made up of your actual composition, and you can click on what's your target. This is the area that will pop up when you have it selected. As you can see, these things down here are called triggers, and look, it's changing the color of it because of what's built in. Let's go ahead and delete two of these, and let's go right click, clear all styling. It cleared it. It's completely blank. Right click, clear all styling. What we're going to do is we're going to drag this up here. We're going to control, zoom in, and we're going to create a button that is hidden over top of our lessons here that allows the user to navigate to those other pages. I'm going to zoom out. And as you can see, this content area is actually quite large. So let's resize it. Bring it down to about here. To about here. And drag this up to the top here. There we go. And drag this back up to create it a little bit smaller. That's about it. Zoom in a bit. See where we are. Let's resize that just a tad bit. There we go. Zoom out. Now we have a content area that pops up only when we move our mouse over it. Let me show you what I mean. Just put a random color of fill on there, like black. And what we're going to do is we're going to change these settings here. Show target on rollover, which means when your mouse rolls over it. We're going to hide the target when your mouse is moved off of the target, off of the trigger area, and also when it's moved off of the target area. Because otherwise, when you did this, you'd hover over, you hover down here, it would disappear. So what we're also going to do is we're going to put triggers on top and hide initially. We're going to click preview. Hey, look, it's not there. We're going to go like this, click on lessons, and it should have worked. As you can see, this was shifted over due to us having it pinned over there. So what we can actually do is, let's do this. Hold on. Let's unpin it, and let's have this pinned. I think it's like this, if I'm not mistaken, preview. There we go. Still a bit off. Okay, it's there. But as you can see, move my mouse over, and it stays there. Move my mouse off, and it disappears. Which is actually quite useful. I'm going to unpin this from right here. Let's just preview it again. There, now that bar is lined up with where we wanted it to be. I'm going to zoom in, and see, look, it actually auto resizes things for us. Let's just zoom out back to where it should be. And let's click exit, and let's change our master settings because this is labeled as a footer. Let's also pin it to the bottom of the page here. We're going to pin it to there on the page. We're going to pin this. Let's pin that there. Let's pin that there. We're going to pin the trigger up here. We're going to pin that up there. Now we're going to pin that there. Preview. See how this works. There. Everything's pinned over to the side here. Click on it. Now when I zoom in, as you can see, when I scroll, it doesn't move around anymore. It doesn't move. You can see the scroll bar on the side here. Look. It's not moving around like it was before. Scroll out to our regular size. Let's click exit. And this bar is bugging me a little bit that it's not actually... let's go there. Drag it to the side. Preview. See what it looks like. There we go. Nice big bar. That looks good. Let's add some more features. But first what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to layers, I'm going to go to header, go to composition, and as you can see on the side here, I can hide this. Let's just hide that quickly. And yeah, so we're ready to go. One thing also is that since I'm covering this lessons thing here, this lessons button with a trigger, we want to go over here and we want to select of what it should actually be because we are covering it. So now when I go preview, click over it, and I click on this, it changes. Go over here, go back, and what we can also do is we can also change it to I think I spelled lessons wrong. I don't know why. I think I spelled it wrong. Let's just check. Lesson. No, that's right. Okay. What we're gonna actually do is for this trigger is that when you roll over it, we're going to grab gray and we're going to lighten it. Whoa, why isn't that there? Layers, composition, menu. That's weird. There. As you can see, it actually fades it out just a little bit. Let's change that to about there. What was the other one at? Let me roll over 60%. So let's change this one. When you roll over, it's at, I think if I do this at 40, yes, that's the exact same. Preview, let's check it out. That didn't stick for some reason. Let's try that again. And you roll over. Huh, that's weird. That's weird. Let's try that. Absolutely nothing happening. That's weird. Let's change this to be triggers on the bottom. Maybe that would work. Oh, it actually is doing it. It's just so subtle, as you can see. Oh, there, it's working now. That was weird. Let's preview again. It was just so subtle I couldn't even see it. Oh, there we go. I guess you have to actually be on a page for it to work. As you can see, you hover over. It works. Let's change this to be a bit darker. Composition. Roll over. And we're going to change that to 45. There we go. Preview. Home. There. And when you hover over, you get a drop-down menu. Super simple. And we're going to change this to, we're going to add in another one. And we're going to go over to menus. We're going to add in vertical. We're going to go to manual. And we can manually add in our pages. As you can see, that widened it up a whole bunch, and we don't want that like that. We want to, actually, let's do Control and do, Control and do, Control Z. Get rid of that. We're going to drag it onto this page first, and we're going to go to manual. Whoa, manual there, and we're going to resize this to the size that we want, or at least small enough that it'll fit on here. So what we're going to do is we are going to change this to be the size of the content box, and drag that. We're going to right click, clear all styling. No, hold on, Control and do. Let's change our text. We're going to change this one to beginner, backspace, exit, plus. We're going to change this one to intermediate, Oh, gotta stop hitting enter. Gotta hit escape after. And oh, whoops! See, I added one too many. Control Z. Double click there. Oh, whoa! Hold on. Control Y. Let's add it back. Control All, and let's go expert. Now we have our 3 different ones. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use hyperlinking, and we're going to link it to our beginner, our intermediate, and our expert. So let's load up these pages, and let's create some content for it to go on there. So for our beginner, add some blank text. Beginner, intermediate, and expert. Preview. So we're on our expert page. Let's go to the home. Beginner, intermediate, and expert. So there we go. That is the basics of making a website in Adobe Muse. I hope you guys liked it. In the next part of this tutorial, I will be showing how to create your backgrounds and all of your different styling to make it look more like a website instead of like a template. So hope you guys learned something, and thanks. Bye.